Next we will go for problem number 2. Entity Y and entity Z execute a 12-year lease of a rail car with the following terms on January 1st, 2016. Entity Y and entity Z execute 12-year lease cycle for rail car on 1st January 2016. The terms are: the lease commencement date is February 1st, 2016. Entity Y must pay entity Z the first monthly rental payment of 10,000 upon execution of the lease. So first monthly rental it has to pay upon execution of the lease 10,000 rupees. Entity Z will pay entity Y rupees 50,000 cash incentive to enter into the lease payable upon lease execution. So entity Z will offer 50,000 incentive to lease Y upon lease execution. Entity Y incurred 1,000 rupees initial direct costs which are payable on 1st February 2016. Initial direct costs entity Y has incurred. Entity Y calculated the initial lease liability as the present value of lease payments discounted using its incremental borrowing rate, because the rate implicit in the lease could not be readily determined. So present value of lease payments are calculated based on incremental borrowing rate. Incremental borrowing rate. Because the implicit rate of interest is not available. The initial lease liability is 8,50,000 rupees. How would the lessee company measure and record this lease? So how it should be recorded, he is considering. So initial lease liability, he himself saying 8,50,000. Straight away initial lease liability will be considering 8,50,000. Then we will go through the information once again. Entity Y and Z execute a lease for 12 years for lease of a rail car, starting the terms on 1st January 2016. Lease commences on 1st February 2016. Entity Y must pay first monthly rental of 10,000 immediately upon execution of lease, and Z will pay cash incentive of 50,000 upon lease execution, and Y has incurred initial direct cost of 1,000, and present value of lease payments based on incremental borrowing rate 8,50,000. So initial lease liability himself specified 8,50,000. Now right of use of asset we have to calculate. Right of use of asset consists of the elements. First one, initial lease liability. Initial direct costs incurred by the lessee. Initial direct costs incurred by the lessee. Payment made to the lessor before commencement of lease. Payment made to lessor before commencement of lease, less any lease incentives received, and cost of dismantling or restoration. These are all part of right of use of asset. These are all part of right of use of asset. Now, initial measurement of lease liability 8,50,000 he has specified. That will consider 8,50,000. Then initial direct costs incurred by the lessee. Generally, what direct costs will be incurred by the lessee? The direct costs are like commission payable to the agents or employees. So commission, one of the initial direct costs, and a legal fee for execution of the lease, and any payments made to the existing tenants for vacating. Any payments made to the existing tenants for vacating. Lease document preparation costs. So initial direct costs like commission, lease document preparation costs, legal fee, from execution of the lease, legal fee from execution of the lease, and payments made to existing tenants to vacate the place. Like this, all these are initial direct costs. Then any payments made by the lessee to the lessor before commencement of lease, less incentives, any incentives we are receiving, and cost of dismantling or restoration. These are all part of right of use of asset. Here, initial lease liability is 8,50,000, and initial direct costs incurred 1,000. Initial direct costs payable by lessee to the lessor 1,000. Then payment be made before commencement of the lease. Payment made by lessee before commencement, 10,000 rupees. Payment made by the lessee to the lessor before commencement of lease, 10,000 we have to consider. And any incentives received we have to exclude. 50,000 incentive, that we have to exclude. These are to be considered for right of use of asset. Now solution. Right of use of asset. Initial measurement of lease liability 8,50,000. Initial direct costs 1,000. Payment made to lessor before commencement of lease. Before commencement of lease 10,000. So initial lease liability 8,50,000. Initial direct costs 1,000. Payment to lessor before commencement of lease 10,000. Total comes to 8,61,000. Less lease incentive received from the lessor. Lease incentive 50,000 received from the lessor. Remaining 8,11,000 is the ROU of asset. Initial measurement of ROU of asset. Initial value of ROU of asset. So right of use of asset. Generally in most of the questions there will be no information about initial direct costs or payment made before commencement of lease. Like this other costs will not be there. So most of the times we will be considering initial lease liability and right of use of asset as equal. But whenever these costs are there, like initial direct costs, payment made to lessor before commencement of lease incentive, these are like their initial liability and ROU asset value differs. Otherwise, initial lease liability and ROU asset, right of use of asset will be equal if other elements are not there. Next, we will move on to problem number 3. Ind AS 116 leases, problem number 3. Entity ABC lessee enters into a 3-year lease of equipment. Entity ABC agrees to make the payment, the following annual payments at the end of each year. ABC enters into 3 years lease of equipment. So this entity is acquiring equipment on lease basis, and annual payments at the end of each year. 20,000 in year 1, 30,000 in year 2, and 50,000 in year 3. So ABC Limited entity acquires equipment on lease for a period of 3 years. Over a period of 3 years, the lease payments are specified. At the end of each year, we are supposed to pay. For simplicity purposes, there are no other elements to the lease payments like purchase option, lease incentives from the lessor or initial direct costs. So there are no other elements along with this. He is saying assumed a discount rate of 12%, which is entity ABC's incremental borrowing rate, because the interest rate implicit in the lease cannot be readily determined. So discounting rate 12% he is specifying, which is the incremental borrowing rate. So for discounting, if implicit rate of interest is available, we will be considering that. He is saying implicit rate of interest in the lease is not available. So incremental borrowing rate 12%. At that rate, we have to discount. Entity ABC depreciates the right of use of asset on a straight line basis over the lease term. How will entity ABC would account for the said lease under Ind AS 116? ABC is the lessee which acquired asset on lease basis, lease term 3 years, lease rent payable at the end of each of the year 20,000, 30,000, 50,000. Then there are no other elements of lease payments. So elements to the lease payments he is specifying. Discounting rate 12%, which is the incremental borrowing rate, and right of use of asset is depreciated on straight line basis. How would the ABC Limited account for the said lease? Now he is asking about accounting. Here, accounting means we have to measure the initial lease liability. We have to measure the initial lease liability, and at the same time, right of use of asset. So lessee is acquiring equipment on lease basis. He has a commitment for 3 years payments. So liability is there. Liability to pay lease payments over 3 years. For that initial lease liability we have to create. Then at the same time he has a right to uses of asset, right of uses of asset over next 3 years. The equipment he has right of uses of asset. So right of uses of asset should be created as asset. One way he committed for payment over 3 years, that is liability. Other way he has a right of uses of asset, that is asset. These two we have to account for with respect to lessee accounting. So first we will discuss the initial lease liability. Initial lease liability is measured as present value of lease payments. Lease payments is specified over a period of 3 years, and for discounting 12% is the discounting rate, which is the incremental borrowing rate. Simply we have to arrive at the present value of lease payments. Year 1 20,000, year 2 30,000, year 3 50,000. These are to be discounted at 12% rate. Solution part. Initial measurement of lease liability. 4 columns we have taken: year, lease rent, present value factor at 12%, present value of lease rent. First year lease rent 20,000, second year 30,000, third year 50,000. Lease rent payable at the end of the year. That's why each year end we have taken. Following annual payments at the end of each year. So we have taken at the end of each year. Then 12% is the discounting rate. The factors: 0.893, 0.797, 0.712. 1 rupee payable after 1 year now be valuable at 89 pies. 1 rupee payable after 2 years now be valuable at 0.797 rupee. 1 rupee payable after 3 years now be valuable at 71 pies. Now present value of lease rent. Lease rent multiplied with present value factors. 20,000 into 0.893, 17,860. 30,000 into 0.797, 23,910. Third year 50,000 into 0.712, 35,600. Total comes to 77,370. Present value of lease payment. This is nothing but initial measurement of lease liability. So in balance sheet, initial lease liability has to be recorded at 77,370. 77,370. Then this lease liability, just like any other financial liability, it is to be accounted as per amortized cost method. So we have a liability of 77,370. implied interest rate or whatever the rate involved is incremental borrowing rate is 12%. So 12% interest we have to calculate. So against those liability and interest, end of the year we are paying 20,000. We have to adjust that 20,000 lease payment. Then liability will reduce to some extent at the end of first year. Then second year also lease liability plus interest at 12% minus lease rate payment. Lease liability still reduces. Like that, it is spread over a period of 3 years. It is spread over a period of 3 years. This is with respect to lease liability. With respect to lease liability. Then the question, another question he is asking, how would entity ABC would account for said lease under Ind AS 116? Okay, now liability side part we have discussed. Now what about asset side? We as a lessee organization, we have a right of usage of asset against that particular equipment over a period of 3 years. Then right of usage of asset we have to recognize it as an asset. How much amount we have to recognize? So right of usage of asset includes initial measurement of lease liability. Initial measurement of lease liability and any initial direct cost incurred by the lessee. So if any initial direct cost if we are paying, that part we have to consider. Any payment made to the lessor, before commencement of lease. So as a lessee, if you paid any amount to the lessor before commencement of lease, that also we have to consider, because ultimately we have paid, that also we have to consider. Less any lease incentives, if they are providing any incentive, if we are taking lease within this period, we are offering a discount of 10,000 incentive we are offering. Any such incentives are there, that we have to reduce. And one more factor, cost of dismantling or removal cost, we have to consider. Cost of dismantling, removal or restoration cost. So machine we will be installing in our premises. End of 3 years we have to return the machine. For that removal cost will be there. So dismantling or restoration costs, that are also to be considered. So while recognizing a right of usage of asset, initial lease liability you have to consider. Any initial direct costs incurred by the lessee, we have to consider. Any payment made to the lessor before commencement of lease, that we have to consider, less lease incentives. And any dismantling or restoration cost also we have to consider. Now you just say, for simplicity purposes, there are no other elements to the lease payment like purchase option, lease incentive from the lessor or initial direct cost. He is saying there are no other elements. So only initial measured lease liability is there. So that we will be considering as right of usage of asset also. So that liability we have to consider as right of usage of asset also. If any other elements are there, we will be including them. We will be adjusting them. In this context, right of usage of asset has to be recognized equal to the initial lease liability, 77,370. So simply, initially our balance sheet will be reflecting lease liability of 77,370 and right of usage of asset of 77,370. This is initial appearance of the balance sheet. So balance sheet of the lessee will be representing lease liability of 77,370, right of use of asset of 77,370. This is the initial appearance in the balance sheet. Then The question is how it will be accounted. He is questioning. How would entity ABC would account for the said lease? Okay, initially lease liability one way, liability. Other way, right of uses of asset. But we have to account it over a period of 3 years. How you are going to account for? Now, the initial lease liability is we measure it as 77,370. Now, just like any other financial liability, think about we have borrowed 77,370 rupees from a bank or financial institution. It is just like any other financial liability. Against that, we are liable to pay 12% rate of interest. Here, the incremental borrowing rate is 12%. That will be considering. Then, 77,370 is our liability, and 12% is the interest. For the first period, it comes to 9,284. To that extent, our liability increases. End of first year, we will be paying 20,000. We'll be paying 20,000. To that extent, our liability reduces. So, like this, we have to account for. This is called as amortized cost method. So, liabilities, financial liabilities, any financial liability generally will account by amortized cost method. We will account by amortized cost method. Now we will analyze the schedule for lease liability. So 5 columns I have taken. Year 1, lease liability at the beginning of the period. Interest at 12%. This is nothing but the incremental borrowing rate. Whatever discounting rate they have used, that we are taking. Lease payment and lease liability at the end. These are the 5 columns we have taken. Now, year 1, liability starts with 77,370. At the beginning of year 1, we have a liability of 77,370 against this particular lease commitment. So, we have committed the lease for next 3 years. Thereby, our liability is 77,370, present value of lease payments. Then, it is just like 77,370 we borrowed from a bank or financial institution, our liability. Then, by the end of year 1, interest at 12%. 9,284. This 12% is nothing but the discounting rate whatever we have applied. That is incremental borrowing rate of the lessee. So 9,284. Our liability increases. Now, at the end of first year, we are paying 20,000. To that extent, liability reduces. So 77,370 liability plus 9,284 minus 20,000. Lease liability at the end of first year is 66,654. 66,654. Then second year beginning, the lease liability will be 66,654. Interest at 12%. 7,999. To that extent, liability increases. Then at the end of second year, we will be making a lease payment of 30,000. Liability reduces. 66,654 plus 7,999 minus 30,000. Liability will become 44,653 at the end of second year. Now third year beginning, the liability will be 44,653. Now interest at 12%, that comes to 5,347. For last year, you take the interest as the balancing figure. Our total liability comes to 50,000 and lease payment will be 50,000. It will become zero lease liability. This way of accounting is called as amortized cost method. Now, how it will be appearing in the balance sheet? Just we'll see in the horizontal form, just for our understanding. Just for analysis, we are drawing in horizontal form. So balance sheet. Lease liability started with 77,370 first year. Interest is added 9,284. Thereby liability comes to 86,654. Lease payment made 20,000. End of first year lease liability 66,654. Second year beginning, by the end of first year lease liability will come down to 66,654. Second year beginning liability is 66,654. By adding interest 7,999, liability increases to 74,653. Then we will pay lease payment of 30,000. Liability reduces to 44,653 at the end of second year. Then third year, beginning lease liability will be 44,653. End of the year, interest will be 5,347. Total 50,000 liability. Lease payment 50,000. Balance will be nil. So whatever we have done in that table, I have presented here in the balance sheet format just for our understanding and analysis. Then, what about right of use of asset? Here, lease liability we are spreading over a period of time and ultimately it is becoming zero. Then right of use of asset, initially it is 77,370. Over a period of 3 years, by usage, the balance should also become zero. So simply we have to provide depreciation on the right of usage of asset. Just like for asset how we are providing depreciation, in the same way we have to provide depreciation on right of usage of asset. Right of usage of asset. Then see the question. Entity ABC depreciate the right of usage of asset on straight line basis over the lease term. He is clearly saying go for straight line basis for depreciation. Depreciating the right of usage of asset. You may be thinking, sir, we are not the owner of the asset. Even then, the right of usage of asset, whatever we created, that we have to depreciate. Right of usage of asset itself, that itself is asset. That we have to depreciate over a period of the term of 3 years. Now, 77,370 is the right of usage of asset. Initially we created. This has to be spread over a period of 3 years. So divided by 3. 25,790 is the depreciation for first year. Then after providing this, the balance of asset comes to 51,580. Depreciation for second year straight line method, the same thing will be there. 25,790. Balance 25,790. That is depreciation for the third year also 25,790. Closing balance will be nil. Now we'll see in the balance sheet format how it will appear. Initially 77,370 right of usage of asset. Depreciation for first year 25,790. Balance 51,580. Depreciation for second year 25,790. Balance 25,790. Depreciation for third year 25,790. Balance nil. Now we'll check these balances once again. Initially lease liability 77,370, right of usage of assets 77,370. Now end of first year the liability reduces to 66,654, whereas right of usage of asset reduces to 51,580. End of second year lease liability reduces to 44,653. Right of usage of asset reduces to 25,790. Whereas by third year end, the liability as well as asset both are becoming zero. Now, in case of asset, we are spreading it on straight line basis. So it is equally distributed over a period of time. Whereas in case of liability, it depends upon our lease rent payment structure. Here, first year we paid 20,000, second year we paid 30,000, third year we paid 50,000. So based on payment structure only, liability will get reduced. liability will get reduced. Then, now we'll write the accounting entries also. We will record the accounting entries also. So first, initially, we are creating a lease liability of 77,370 and a right of usage of asset of 77,370. So journal entry. Right of usage of asset account data to lease liability. Right of use of asset account data to lease liability. 77,370. That should be the first entry. That should be the first entry. So initially, right of usage of asset account data to lease liability 77,370. So this is initial recognition of lease liability and right of usage of asset. Then every year, whatever we have accounted here, that we have to record the entry. So first year, there is interest of 9,284. This is expenditure. First year there is depreciation of 25,790. This is also expenditure. So we'll write the entry for that. Interest expense account data to lease liability. So the interest expense has to be credited to the lease liability. Interest expense account data to lease liability 9,284. First year. Second year 7,999. The same entry 7,999. Third year 5,347. So interest expense account data to lease liability. So year 1, year 2, year 3. Here I have written straight away for 3 years in 3 columns. But while recording, you have to record year wise. Then against that, we have made a lease payment of 20,000, 30,000, 50,000. So lease liability account data to bank, to that extent we are paying lease liability account data to bank 20,000 first year, 30,000 second year, 50,000 third year. Then next depreciation we have to provide. So depreciation account data to right of use of asset. Depreciation account data to right of use of asset account 25,790. Each year 25,790. First, second, and third years. Now, out of this, interest is an expenditure. Depreciation is also an expenditure. These two we have to debit to the P&L account as an expense. So the expenses which we are incurring are to be debited to the P&L account. So year 1, interest 9,284. Depreciation 25,790. So total of these two expenses comes to 35,074 for year 1. Year 2, 7,999 is the interest expense. Depreciation comes to 25,790. Total 33,789. 33,789. Expenses for year 2. Year 3, interest 5,347 and depreciation 25,790. Total comes to 31,137. These are expenses for year 3. So this is a P&L extract. So to that extent, P&L extract we are representing. Then balance sheet extract also I am presenting here. ROU asset, right of uses of asset side, initially 77,370. Lease liability 77,370. Then end of year 1, 51,580 is the ROU balance, right of uses of asset, and lease liability balance is 66,654. We can check here. So at the end of first year, the balance is 51,580, right of uses of asset. whereas lease liability is 66,654. Then at the end of second year, the right of usage of asset is 25,790. Lease liability comes to 44,653. That we are presenting. So this is for presentation. End of second year, 25,790 and 44,653. End of third year, balance becomes 0. Now, just we'll go for quick recapture of the problem once again. So this is complete accounting of the asset in lessee's books. First step, initial measurement of lease liability, that is present value of lease payment. First, quantify the lease payments, discount them at suitable discounting rate. If implicit rate of interest is available, take it. If otherwise, go for incremental borrowing rate. Here, incremental borrowing rate is available. We have taken 12% and discounted 77,370. This is initial lease liability. Then, right of usage of asset consists of initial lease liability plus initial direct costs incurred by the lessee plus any payment made before commencement of lease minus lease incentives plus cost of dismantling or restoration. All these are to be included. Here no such costs are there. Only initial liability is there. Straight away right of usage of asset we have taken at that level. Then liability we have to measure based on amortized cost method. Just like any other financial liability, asset we have to depreciate. Based on straight line method, we have depreciated. Then journal entries, initial entry, write off users of asset account data to lease liability. Then every year the entries are interest expense account data to lease liability for charging interest expense. Then for lease payment, lease liability account data to bank. For charging depreciation, depreciation account data to ROU asset account, write off usage of asset account. This is complete accounting with respect to the lessee books. Next concept we will discuss lease modifications. If there is any change in the scope of the lease, it may be increase or decrease. If there is any change in the scope of the lease, it may be increase or decrease, or change in the consideration for the lease, or change in the consideration for the lease, or timing of payments, which are not part of original terms, then it is considered as a lease modification. So if there is any change in the scope of the lease, or change in the consideration, or timing of payment, which are not part of original terms, then it can be considered as lease modification. Example, change in the scope of lease, lease extension. Originally, the lease was for a term of 5 years. Now it is extended for 5 more years. Lease extension, modification. Early termination of the lease. Original lease term was 5 years. Now it has been reduced to 3 years only. Lease modification. Change in the timing of lease payments. So, lease payments 1 lakh rupees payable at the end of each year. Now it has been changed to at the beginning of each year. Timing of payment. Lease modification only. Then leasing additional space in the same building. Suppose in a particular building we have taken a ground floor on rent, 2000 square feet. Now we are taking first floor also, 2000 square feet more. So additional space. Surrendering a part of the space or underlying asset. Suppose till now we have taken a ground floor which is 2000 square feet. on lease basis. Now, within that, we have reduced it to 1000 square feet only. We have reduced our lease to 1000 square feet only. These are all examples of modification only. Then, what is its impact? What is its impact? Impact of modification. It may lead to separate lease, or there is no separate lease. Possible impact is a separate lease may arise. There is no scope for separate lease. Then, when the scope for separate lease arises, it is only in the context of it is only possible in the context of increase in the scope. Increase in the scope. It is like till now we are occupying 2000 square feet. Now 1000 more square feet we are acquiring on lease. Increase in scope. Is it each and every transaction? Each and every transaction. Each and every lease transaction which increases scope amounts to separate lease? No. No. So one more condition to be fulfilled. First condition is increase in the scope of the lease. Second one, there should be commensurate consideration. Commensurate consideration. There should be sufficient consideration. If it is like for 2000 square feet, we are paying around 1 lakh lease rate. For 1000 square feet, around 50,000. Like that, commensurate consideration should be there. So if these two conditions are fulfilled, then it has to be considered as a separate lease. So I am repeating the conditions. If there is scope in increase in the scope of the lease, there is increase in the scope of the lease, and commensurate increase in the consideration is there. Sufficient increase in the consideration is there. If both these conditions are fulfilled, then only separate lease arises. It is as simple as 2000 square feet already we have taken lease. Now 1000 square feet we are taking on lease, for which commensurate consideration is there. Then treat it as a separate lease agreement. The 1000 square feet whatever we are entering now for 50,000 approximately, treat it as a separate lease agreement. Then what is the accounting treatment? It is as simple as the initial measurement principles whatever we learned, we have to follow the same. So we are entering separate lease agreement. How we will be dealing? We will be following the initial measurement principles. The same thing we have to continue. Then, in other contexts, there is no scope for separate lease. There is no scope for separate lease. Other contexts can be classified into two types. One is decrease in scope. Other one is other modifications. Decrease in scope. Till now 2000 square feet we are occupying. Now we are reducing to 1500 square feet. That is 500 square feet we have reduced. 25% portion we have reduced. Till now we are occupying 2000 square feet. Now we are reducing it to 1000 square feet. That is decrease of 1000 square feet. 50% we have reduced. That is decrease in scope. Other modifications is the other one. So, in these two contexts, there is no scope for separate lease. If decrease in scope is there, there is no necessity of separate lease. Other than this, any other modification like change in conservation or timing of period, there is no need for separate lease. Then, how to deal with these situations in case of decrease in scope. In case of decrease in scope, like scope reduces by 25% or 50% like that, then decrease the lease liability and right of use of asset. Decrease the lease liability and right of use of asset relatively, proportionately. 25% we have reduced the scope. You reduce lease liability and ROU by 25%. 50% we have reduced the scope in lease. Then reduce lease liability and ROU proportionately for 50%. This is the first step we have to do with respect to decrease in lease. Then there is decrease in liability, decrease in asset. Definitely those two values will be different. By comparing these two, recognize the profit or loss in P&L. Suppose liability reduces by 2 lakhs rupees. Asset reduces by 1,80,000 rupees. 20,000 gain. More decrease in liability, 20,000 gain. Liability reduces by 2 lakhs. Asset reduces by 2,25,000. 25,000 loss. So like this, by comparing these two, recognize the difference in P&L. Then next step is remeasure the lease liability at revised discounting rate. Remeasure the lease liability at a revised discounting rate. So in case of decrease in scope, first decrease the lease liability and right of use of asset relatively, proportionately. Consider the difference between these two aspects in P&L. Then remeasure the lease liability at revised discounting rate. This is with respect to decrease in scope. Then what about other modifications? In case of decrease in scope, there is no scope for separate lease. Then what about other modifications? Like change in consideration or change in lease payment. There is no scope for separate lease. Then simply remeasure the lease liability at a revised discounting rate. Remeasure the lease liability at a revised discounting rate. And remeasure the right of use of asset by the same amount. Remeasure the right of use of asset by the same amount. Now, impact of modifications are with respect to lease, creating separate lease, not creating separate lease. Creating separate lease arises, it happens only when there is increase in scope and commensurate increase in consideration is there. If both conditions are fulfilled, go for separate lease. Just follow the initial measurement principles. Not a separate lease. Remaining all situations, so there is no scope for separate lease. Then this can be once again be categorized into two types. Decrease in scope, other modifications. If it is decrease in scope, decrease lease liability and a right of use of asset relatively, proportionately. By comparing these two, decrease in liability and decrease in right of use of asset, adjust the difference in P&L account. Then remeasure the lease liability at revised discounting rate. Then with respect to other modifications, remeasure the lease liability at a revised discounting rate and remeasure the right of use of asset by the same amount. This is a treatment with respect to modifications, lease modifications. Lease modifications. Write down lease modification. A lease modification is a change in the scope of a lease or the consideration for lease. Change in the scope of a lease or the consideration for lease that was not part of original terms. Examples: lease extension or early termination, lease extension or early termination, leasing additional space or surrendering some part, change in timing of lease payments, change in timing of lease payments. Then run down the next chart. Impact of modifications. The impact is two types of impact are possible: separate lease, not a separate lease. Bifurcate into two branches: separate lease, not a separate lease. Separate lease means if two conditions are fulfilled, then it is considered as a separate lease. Write down. First bifurcation, separate lease. Two conditions. First one, increase in the scope of the lease. Second one, commensurate increase in consideration. Commensurate increase in consideration. So, for separate lease, two conditions are involved: increase in scope of lease and commensurate increase in consideration. Commensurate, sufficient increase in consideration. If both these are fulfilled, then only separate lease. If any one of the condition is not fulfilled, we need not go for separate lease. So otherwise, not a separate lease. Go for second branch. Not a separate lease. Hyphen other situations. Then for accounting treatment, we will go for another chart. Accounting treatment. Bifurcate into two branches: separate lease, not a separate lease. First branch, separate lease. Hyphen follow the initial measurement principles. So in case of separate lease, just following the initial measurement principles. Whatever the increase in scope is there, that we are considering it as a separate lease, simply following the initial measurement principles. Now go for second branch, not a separate lease. Bifurcate it into two branches. Decrease in scope, other modifications. Decrease in scope, other modifications. Out of this first branch, right? Decrease in scope. Right points. First one. Decrease right of use of asset and lease liability relatively. That is proportionately. So first one, decreasing the ROU and lease liability relatively, proportionately. Second one, consider the difference in P&L. So one way liability is reduced, other way asset is reduced. So by comparing these two, we have to consider the difference in P&L. So if there is more decrease in liability when compared to asset, that is a profit for us. If there is a more decrease in asset when compared to liability, that is loss for us. Third one, remeasure lease liability at revised discounting rate. Remeasure lease liability at revised discounting rate. Then go for second branch. Other modifications. So within not a separate lease, decrease in scope is one. Other modifications is the other one. Right steps, first one, remeasure lease liability at revised discounting rate. So whatever here we are doing, remeasure lease liability at revised discounting rate. Same point repeats here. Then second point, remeasure the ROU of the asset by the same amount. So the only point difference is whatever the remeasured lease liability is there, to that extent we have to consider the ROU. Whereas in case of decrease in scope, proportionate decrease of ROU and lease liability should be there. Then first step, decrease in ROU and lease liability proportionate. Then we will measure the lease liability, remeasure the lease liability. That is the next step. Here straight away remeasuring the lease liability and remeasuring the ROU. This is the accounting treatment for modifications. Next point we have to analyze when the remeasurement of lease liability arises. So, remeasurement of lease liability. Liability once we are measuring initially, what is the need or necessity for once again measuring the liability? This is because of change in lease payments. The remeasurement of lease liability may arise when there will be chance for change in lease payments. Whenever there is a change in lease term, suppose original lease term is like 5 years, now revised lease term is like 10 years, change in lease term. Original lease term is for like 5 years, revised is 3 years only, that is change. So reassessment of lease term, total lease payments will change, thereby liability will change. Then reassessment of purchase option. Initially, while measuring lease liability, if the lessee is reasonably certain to exercise the purchase option, if purchase option is there, then if lessee is reasonably certain to exercise, then it will be included in lease payments. Otherwise, we will not include. So in between, there is a change in the fact. Like initially, lessee is initially not reasonably certain, but after few years, now he is reasonably certain to exercise the purchase option. Lease payments will change, liability will change. So reassessment of purchase option. Or otherwise, initially we considered lessee is reasonably certain, but after few years, now it is not reasonably certain. Lease liability will change, lease payments will change, lease liability will change. Then change in insubstance payments. So insubstance payments, whatever we are considering originally included in lease payments, now there is change in insubstance payments with the latest assessment. Automatically lease liability will change. And whatever the residual value given by the guarantee given by residual value guarantee given by the lessee. Now, change in the residual value guarantee given. Initially, lessee has agreed 30,000 rupees residual value guarantee. Now, with latest position, he is ready for residual value guarantee of 50,000. Change. So, lease payments will change, and we have to go for remeasuring of lease liability. So, the remeasurement of lease liability arises due to changes in lease payments only. The lease payment may change due to any of the following reasons: reassessment of lease term, reassessment of purchase option. So reassessment of lease term is increase or decrease, increase in lease term or decrease in lease term. That's what we discussed in this particular lease modifications. In case of separate lease, increase in scope, we will go for separate lease if other condition is also fulfilled. In that context, we will take it as separate lease by following initial management principles. Automatically, lease liability we are recognizing. Whereas in case of decrease in scope, we are decreasing lease liability and ROI proportionately and remeasuring the lease liability. So, the first point, reassessment of lease term, increase in scope, lease term increases. In case of decrease in scope, lease term reduces, that is reassessment of lease term. Reassessment of purchase option. If there is change in that reasonable certainty, definitely lease payments will change, and change in insubstance payments, and change in residual value guarantee, etc. These are the different possible events for remeasurement of lease liability. And even in case of other modifications also, in case of decrease in scope, remeasuring lease liability, other modifications. If modification arises means lease payments, change in lease payments or timing of payment, then automatically we have to remeasure the liability. This is about remeasurement of liability, lease liability. Problem number 6. Lessee enters into a 10-year lease for 2000 square meters of office space. So this is lease for 10 years for 2000 square meters of office space. At the beginning of year 6, lessee and lessor agree to amend the original lease for the remaining 5 years to include an additional 3000 square meters of office space in the same building. So at the beginning of 6th year, that is after completion of 5 years, both lessee and lessor have agreed to amend the original lease for remaining 5 years. So that is to include additional 3000 square meters of office space in the same building. So including additional space. The additional space is made available for use by the lessee at the end of the second quarter of year 6. So additional space will be made available by the end of second quarter. The increase in total consideration for the lease is commensurate with the current market rate for the new 3000 square meters of office space. Adjusted for the discount that lessee receives, reflecting that lessor does not incur costs that it would otherwise have incurred if leasing the same space to a new tenant. For example, marketing costs. The increase in total consideration for the lease is commensurate with current market rate. For the new 3000 square meters of office space, the increase in consideration is commensurate to the market rate he is specifying for 3000 square meters. Adjust for the discount that lessee receives, reflecting the lessor does not incur costs that it would otherwise have incurred if leasing the same space to a new tenant. For example, marketing cost. How should the said modification be accounted for? Now, just we will go through the facts of the question. Original lease is for a period of 10 years. This is for 2000 square meters. At the beginning of 6th year, that is after completion of 5 years, both lessor and lessee agreed to amend the original lease for remaining 5 years so that it includes 3000 square meters of office space, that is increase in scope. Now, the increase in total consideration for the lease is commensurate with the current market rate. So whenever there is increase in scope, the immediate point we have to check whether commensurate increase in consideration is there or not. For increase in scope as well as commensurate increase in consideration. If both these conditions are fulfilled, then it has to be considered as a separate lease. Then it has to be considered as a separate lease. So we'll just go through the provisions once again. Impact of modifications. Separate lease, not a separate lease. Separate lease. If two conditions are fulfilled, we have to consider it as a separate lease. Increase in scope of lease. Here, additional 3000 square meters. So we are going to include. That is nothing but increase in scope of the lease. Second one, commensurate increase in conservation. Sufficient increase in conservation. He is clearly saying the total consideration for the lease is commensurate with the current market rate for the new 3000 square meters of office space. So both the conditions are fulfilled. So increase in scope of lease is there, commensurate increase in consideration is there. So this has to be considered as a separate lease. Then how to account for it? Accounting treatment. In case of separate lease, just follow the initial measurement principles. Then we have to consider it as a separate lease. We have to account for it as a separate lease. And just initial measurement principles we have to follow. And we have to account for this particular lease as a separate lease. So the two conditions are clearly fulfilled, he is saying. Thereby we have to account for it as separate lease. So write down the answer. A lease modification is accounted. A lease modification is accounted as a separate lease if both the following conditions are fulfilled. First one, the modification increases the scope of lease. Second one, the consideration for the lease increases by a commensurate amount. For increase in the scope. So these are the two conditions. Write next para separately. Here there is increase in scope for additional 3000 square meters. And there is a commensurate consideration. So both the conditions are fulfilled. So the modification has to be accounted as a separate lease by considering initial measurement principles. So the lessee has to consider lease liability, and ROU asset for additional 3000 square meters. Now see the question, how should the set modification be accounted for? We have to account for it as a separate lease, and just we have to follow the initial measurement principles. So this question we have to answer purely theoretically only, because no way he has specified any values or anything. So just specifying, concluding purely theoretically only. Next we will move on to problem number 5. Entity W entered into a contract for lease of a retail store with entity J on January 1st, 2017. So, on 1st January 2017, entity W entered a lease agreement for leasing of retail store with entity J. So, it is acquiring on lease a retail store from entity J. This is on 1/1/2017. The initial term of lease is 5 years with a renewal option of further 3 years. So initial lease term is for 5 years, which can be renewed for 3 more years. The annual payments for initial term and renewal term is 1 lakh and 1,10,000 respectively. Annual payments for initial term. Initial term is for 5 years, that is 1 lakh. And for renewal term, 1,10,000. Renewal term is for 3 years, then it is 1,10,000. The annual lease payment will increase based on annual increase in CPI, Consumer Price Index, at the end of the preceding year. So the annual lease payments will change along with Consumer Price Index CPI at the end of the previous year. It is the payment due on 1/1/2018 will be based on the CPI available at 31st December 2017. So by the end of first year, 31st December 2017, whatever be the CPI available, based on that the payment will be made on 1/1/2018, 1st January 2018, like that. Entity W's incremental borrowing rate at the lease inception date and as at 1/1/2020 is 5% and 6% respectively. Incremental borrowing rate, discounting rate on the inception date 1/1/2017 is 5%, and on 1/1/2020 is 6%. And the CPI at lease commencement date and as at 1st January 2020 is 120 and 124.8 respectively. Consumer Price Index at lease commencement date, it is 120. At 1st January 2020, it is 124.8. At the lease commencement date, entity W did not have a significant economic incentive to exercise the renewal option. So, at the commencement, it does not have any incentive, significant incentive to exercise the renewal option. In the first quarter of 2020, entity W installed unique lease improvements into the retail store with an estimated 5-year economic life. So, first quarter of 2020, we have installed a few improvements in the retail store, unique lease improvements with an estimated 5-year economic life. We are expecting its economic life will be 5 years. Entity W determined that it would only recover the cost of improvements if it exercised the renewal option. Now, we invested for the improvements. We invested for the improvements in the retail store, which have an economic life of 5 years. These investments we can recover only if we can exercise the renewal option. Creating a significant economic incentive to extend. Is entity W required to remeasure the lease in the first quarter of 2020? We'll just go back to the given information once again. On 1/1/2017, W entered lease agreement with entity J. So it acquires a retail store on lease basis. Initial term is 5 years. Then there is a further renewal option for 3 years. Initial term lease payments are 1 lakh per annum and renewal 1 lakh 10,000 per annum renewal term. Annual lease payments will increase with CPI, Consumer Price Index, and incremental borrowing rate at the beginning is 5% discounting rate, and on 1/1/2020 it is 6%. Same way he specified the CPI, Consumer Price Index, at the beginning 120, and on 1/1/2020 it is 124.8. Initially, the entity W does not have any incentive, any significant incentive to exercise the renewal option. But in 2020 first quarter, we installed some lease improvements in the retail store, for which the economic life is expected to be 5 years. And for recovering these improvements cost, we have to exercise the renewal option. Now, this happened in first quarter of 2020. Whether we have to remeasure the liability or not. So, remeasurement of lease liability arises due to changes in lease payments. Due to reasons like reassessment of lease term. So we have reassessed the lease term, thereby lease payments are changing. Remeasurement is required. Reassessment of purchase option. So initially we have not interested, later on we have reassessed the purchase option. Change in substance payments. So in substance the payments have changed. Remeasurement is required. Change in residual warranty value guaranteed. So if there is change in guaranteed residual value, then also we have to remeasure the liability. So remeasurement happens in this type of context. So reassessment of lease term, reassessment of purchase option, change in substance payments, change in residual value guarantee, etc. Here we have reassessed the renewal option, and there is a change in lease payments. Definitely we have to remeasure the liability in the first quarter of 2020. Definitely. Now, starting with the before remeasurement, initially we have to measure what is the liability. Initial measurement of liability. On 1/1/2017, we will arrive at initial measurement of liability. So, initial measurement of liability will arrive, and right of use of asset also will arrive. Then, it is on 1/1/2017. So, the initial term is for 5 years. Then, first quarter of 2020, that is 3 years completed. 2017, 18, 19, 3 years completed. Then we are having significant interest in extension of the renewal option. Significant interest in the renewal option. Now, so by the end of 3 years, what is the balance liability? What is the balance liability? What is the balance of right of use of asset? We have to arrive. So first step, initial measurement of lease liability and ROU of asset, right of use of asset, we have to arrive. Then by the end of 3 years, there is a significant interest in exercise of renewal option. So remeasurement of liability we have to go for. By the end of 3 years, what is the balance liability and balance right of use of asset? We have to arrive. Then we have to remeasure the liability after considering the renewal option. Then it has to be compared with Balance of liability, the additional liability you have to create. Same way, ROU of asset, whatever it is there, due to remeasurement, we will be comparing with the balance of ROU, and any additional portion is required, definitely that will create. This is what the exercise we are supposed to do. So starting with the first step is initial measurement of lease liability. Present value of lease payments for initial term of 5 years. Initial term of 5 years. For discounting, we have specified the incremental borrowing rate is 5%. So implied interest rate is not available. If implied interest rate in the lease is available, we will go for that one. When it is not available, we will go for incremental borrowing rate of lessee. So this is 5% initially. We have to go for that one. So initial term, the lease payments are starting with 1 lakh. This is 5 years, for a period of 5 years. Present value of lease payments we have to find. Now we'll move on to solution part. Just include a sentence. Lease payments are at the beginning of the year. Include a sentence. Lease payments are at the beginning of the year. Solution part. So over a period of 5 years, at the beginning of the period, we have to pay the lease rate. So 0 year, immediately we have to pay 1 lakh. And 1 to 4 years, first year end, second year end, third year end, fourth year end. 1 to 4 years, 1 lakh. So these are repetitive cash flows. Repetitive cash flows, we can apply the annuity factor. So 0 period immediate payment I am differentiating, and remaining 1 to 4 years, at one step we can take 1 lakh. For 0 period, the present value factor is 1 rupee. Today's 1 rupee is 1 rupee only. At 5% present value factor, incremental borrowing rate is 5% for the lessee, discounting rate 5%. 1 to 4 years, 3.546. Then by multiplying present value of lease rate, 1 lakh into 1 lakh. 1 lakh into 3.546, 3,54,600. Total 4,54,600. This is initial measurement of lease liability. So initially, we have to consider lease liability of 4,54,600. Then right of use of asset, initial measurement of right of use of asset. So we have to consider initial measurement of lease liability, and any direct cost missed by the lessee, nothing given, and any payments before commencement of lease, nothing are there. Lease incentives, nothing are there. Then cost of dismantling or restoration costs, nothing is there. So straight away, right of use of asset 4,54,600. That is initial measurement of lease liability. So initially, lease liability will be for 4,54,600, and right of use of asset 4,54,600. Then we will prepare schedule for lease liability. Schedule for lease liability based on amortized cost method. 5 columns we are considering. Year, lease liability at the beginning, interest at 5%, lease payments, lease liability at the end. So this 5% is nothing but discounting rate, incremental borrowing rate. So 0 period, 4,54,600 lease liability, and immediately we are paying 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh rupees. For immediate payment, there will not be any interest. 1 lakh we are paying. Balance 3,54,600 lease liability at the end. There is nothing but we are making a down payment of 1 lakh. Balance 3,54,600. First year beginning, the liability will be 3,54,600. Interest 5%, 17,730. 17,730. Lease payment made 1 lakh. Balance 2,72,330. So 3,54,600 plus 17,730 minus 1 lakh. 2,72,330. Beginning of second year liability 2,72,330. Interest 5%, 13,670. Lease payment 1 lakh. Then liability at the end 1,85,947. 2,72,330 plus 13,670 minus 1 lakh. 1,85,947. 1,85,947. So liability at the beginning of third year. At the beginning of third year. Now, this is nothing but a lease liability on 1/1/2020. Balance of lease liability. So this is payment for 2017. This is payment for 2018. This is payment for 2019. In the beginning, we are making payment. So for 2020 beginning, 1,85,947 is the balance lease liability. So we arrived at initial lease liability and 3 years period completed, 3 payments completed. For that, we adjusted the lease payments. Then the balance comes to 1,85,947. Then balance right of use of asset. So here the right of use of asset is 4,54,600. The right is for 5 years. Out of that, we completed 3 years. The balance portion we have to add. So schedule for right of use of asset. So initial value of right of use of asset 4,54,600. So we can go for depreciation on straight line basis. 4,54,600 divided by 5 years. 3 years completed. So depreciation for 3 years into 3. 2,72,760. This is depreciation for 3 years. Then remaining balance 1,81,840. Balance on 1st January 2020. So balance of ROA asset, right of use of asset. Now, at the beginning of 2020, balance of liability is 1,85,947 and balance of right of use of asset 1,81,840. Now, we will go back to the question. At the lease commencement date, entity W did not have a significant economic incentive to exercise the renewal option. Initially, we don't have any significant incentive to renew the option. In the first quarter of 2020, entity W installed unique lease improvements into the retail store with an estimated 5-year economic life. So, we introduced lease improvements in the retail store with a life of 5 years. NTW determined that it would only recover the cost of the improvement if it exercised the renewal option. So now we understood if we can exercise the renewal option, then only we can cover the cost of improvement. Now definitely we have to remeasure the liability because there is change in our opinion. So the renewal opinion, now we are interested. Hereby, remeasurement of liability is required. Now, from the first quarter of 2020, we are reasonably certain to exercise the renewal option. So we have to remeasure the lease liability. Remeasure the lease liability. Then he specified the consumer price index. Consumer price index at lease commencement date and as at 1/1/2020 is 120 and 124.8 respectively. So at the lease commencement it is 120 consumer price index and 1st January 2020 124.8, that is increase of 4.8. As a percentage it comes to 4%. So the consumer price index rises by 4%. The prices rise by 4%. The same thing we have to incorporate for lease rent also. The annual lease payments will increase based on annual increase in the CPI at the end of the preceding year. So we have to change it along with the consumer price index. Then increase in consumer price index 124.8 minus 124.8. Increase in consumer price index as a percentage 4.8 divided by 120 into 100 at 4%. So consumer price index increase as a percentage 4%. Now the future lease payments we have to increase by 4%. And now we have to remeasure the liability. Whenever we are remeasuring the liability, so we have to assess the lease payments. We have to assess the lease payments, and we have to discount them at a revised discounting rate. Revised discounting rate. So 4% inflation factor is there. 4% we have to incorporate for future payments. Then remaining original term remaining 2 years is there, and renewal term will be 3 more years will be there. Total 2 plus 3 5 more years will be there. Then 0 period 1 lakh into 104%, 1 lakh 4,000. Otherwise 1 lakh plus 4%, 1 lakh 4,000. Immediately we have to pay. At the end of first year also we have to pay 1 lakh 4,000. By the time initial lease term will be completed, then the renewal term starts. The renewal term lease payment is 1 lakh 10,000 plus inflation 4%. That is 1 lakh 10,000 into 104%, 1 lakh 14,400. So this is for 3 years. End of second year, end of third year, end of fourth year. So for remeasuring the lease liability, first we have to quantify the lease payments. Then revise the discounting rate we have to consider. So lease payments we have redefined by considering the inflation factor. First 2 years 1 lakh plus 4%. Next 3 years 1 lakh 10,000 plus 4%. 4% is the inflation factor. Then entity W's incremental borrowing rate at the lease inception date and as at 1st January 2020 is 5% and 6% respectively. Now the incremental borrowing rate is 6%. Remeasurement should be at a revised discounting rate of 6%. So remeasurement of lease liability at the beginning of the year we are making payment, thereby starting with 0 year 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is for 5 years. 0 and 1 years, these 2 years are for initial term. 2, 3, 4, the remaining 3 years are for the renewed term. Lease rent we have defined. Present value factors at 6%. For 0 period 1, first period 0.943, 0.89 for second period, 0.84 for third period, 0.792 for fourth period. Then present value of lease rent 1 lakh 4,000 into 1 lakh 4,000, 1 lakh 4,000 into 0.943, 98,072, 1 lakh 14,400 into 0.89, 1 lakh 1,816, 1 lakh 14,400 into 0.84, 96,096, 1 lakh 14,400 into 0.792, 90,605. Total comes to 4,90,589. 4,90,589. This is a revised lease liability. Revised lease liability. 4,90,589. Now, what is the balance of lease liability? Balance of so 1,85,947 is the balance of lease liability on 1/1/2020. But revised lease liability considering all the future payments, so 4,90,589. Now, existing liability balance 1,85,947. Revised 4,90,589. The incremental 3,04,642. This is increase in lease liability. Increase in lease liability 3,04,642. Then There is increase in liability to the extent of 3,04,642. We have to increase the ROE of asset also by the same amount. To the extent of increase in liability, we have to increase the ROE of asset, right of use of asset. Then, now the entry is right of use of asset account data to lease liability account. 3,04,642. So, liability side, lease liability will increase. Asset side, right of use of asset will increase to the extent of 3,04,642. Then, this is about remeasurement of lease liability. Here, there is a reassessment about the renewal option. Initially, we are not interested, but by the end of 3 years, we are interested. Whenever such reassessment is there, we have to go for a remeasurement of lease liability. So, whenever we are remeasuring the lease liability, first assess the future lease payments and discount it at the revised discounting rate. So, after measuring a revised lease liability, compare with the balance of existing lease liability, whatever incremental portion is there, to that extent increase the lease liability. And here to that extent ROE asset also increases. So the entry is ROE asset account data to right of use of asset account data to lease liability account 3,04,642. One way liability increases, other way right of use of asset increases by 3,04,642. Next we will move on to problem number 7. Lessee enters into a 10 years lease for 5,000 square meters of office space. So this is a lease for 5,000 square meters of office space for a period of 10 years. The annual lease payments are 1 lakh rupees payable at the end of each year. Lease payments 1 lakh at the end of each year. Annual lease payments. The interest rate implicit in the lease cannot be readily determined. So implicit interest rate cannot be determined. Lessee's incremental borrowing rate at the commencement date is 6% per annum. So this is a lease for 10 years, acquiring on lease 5,000 square meters of office space. Annual lease payments are 1 lakh per annum, payable at the end of each year. Implicit rate of interest is not available. The incremental borrowing rate of lessee is 6%. At the beginning of year 7, lessee and lessor agree to amend the original lease by extending the contractual lease term by 4 years. Originally it is for 10 years. Now we are extending it by 4 years. Lessee and lessor both are agreeing. This happens at the beginning of 7th year. The annual lease payments are unchanged. 1 lakh payable at the end of each year from year 7 to year 14. Lessee's incremental borrowing rate at the beginning of year 7 is 7%. How should the said modifications be accounted for? Now, after completion of 6 years, that is at the beginning of 7th year, lessee and lessor agrees to amend the original lease term. They want to extend it by 4 years. Lease payment is same, 1 lakh rupees per annum at the end of each year. Now the total term comes to 10 plus 4, 14 years. The incremental borrowing rate at the beginning of 7th year is 7%. How should the modification be accounted for? Now this is definitely a lease modification. Lease modification means it may be increase in the scope of the lease or decrease in the scope of the lease, change in the scope of the lease. That is, it includes extension of lease, like in this context, extension of lease or early termination. It includes leasing additional space or reducing the space, that is surrendering some part of the space. and the timing of payments. All these are part of lease modifications only. So if you are extending the lease term or reducing the lease term, change in the term, modification. Increasing the space or reducing the space, that is also part of lease modification. Changing the timing of payments, all these are part of lease modifications only. Then the impact of modification, how to account for? If the modification is increase in the scope of the lease, and commensurate increase in the consideration, then we'll go for separate lease. Here, there is only change in the duration only. So it is extended by 4 more years. So we need not go for creating one more lease. Separate lease is not necessary. If there is increase in scope and commensurate consideration increases, then we have to go for separate lease. Here definitely we have to account for the modification. How we have to account for the modification? If the modification is like decrease in scope, we have to decrease the liability and ROU asset proportionately. And we have to remeasure the reversal liability at revised discounting rate. This is not decrease in scope also. So this is just other modifications. Whenever other modifications are involved, then we have to remeasure the lease liability at revised discounting rate. Remeasure the revised lease liability at revised discounting rate. And remeasure the ROI of asset also. Now, after completion of 6 years, that is at the beginning of 6th year, there is a modification in the lease. These are just other modifications, not increasing in the scope or decreasing the scope, other modification. So, whenever these type of other modifications are involved, just remeasure the lease liability at revised discounting rate. Remeasure the lease liability at revised discounting rate. And remeasure the ROU of asset also, right of use of asset also. So, first to start with, before that we have to measure initial measurement of lease liability and ROI of asset, initial value of ROI of asset. So, initial measurement of lease liability, present value of future lease payments. So that is 1 lakh payable at the end of each year for a period of 10 years. The initial discounting rate is incremental borrowing rate of 6%. That we have to arrive at initial measurement of lease liability and initial value of ROI asset. After arriving that, then there is a modification at the beginning of 7th year. So 6 years completed. Then at the end of 6 years, what is the balance liability and balance ROI of asset we have to find. Then we have to remeasure the liability considering the additional facts. Then comparing the existing liability and remeasured liability, creating additional liability and creating additional ROI of asset. We will start with the initial measurement of liability. So 1 to 10 years, the agreed lease rent is 1 lakh. Discounting rate 6%. Incremental borrowing rate of 6%. So repetitive cash flows are there. We can apply the annuity factor. So annuity factor at 6% for 10 years, 7.36. Present value of lease rent 7,36,000. 7,36,000. This is initial measurement of lease liability. Then at the end of 6 years, what is the balance lease liability we will calculate. For that we will prepare the schedule for lease liability. Schedule for lease liability. 5 columns calculations. First one, year, lease liability at the beginning, interest at 6%, lease payments, lease liability at the end of the year. So year 1, initial liability started with 7,36,000. Interest 6%, 44,160. Lease payments 1 lakh. So balance at the end of first year 6,80,160. 7,36,000 plus 44,160 minus 1 lakh. 6,80,160. At the beginning of second year, liability is 6,80,160. Interest 6%, 40,810. Lease payments 1 lakh. Balance at the end 6,20,970. That is 6,80,160 plus 40,810 minus 1 lakh. Then balance at the beginning of third year 6,20,970. Interest at 6%, 37,258. 37,258. Lease payment 1 lakh. Then lease liability at the end 5,58,228. 6,20,970 plus 37,258 minus 1 lakh. 5,58,228. Fourth year beginning, lease liability 5,58,228. Interest 6%, 83,494. Lease payment 1 lakh. So liability at the end 4,91,722. 5,58,228 plus 83,494 minus 1 lakh. 4,91,722. Then liability at the beginning of fifth year 4,91,722. Interest 6%, 29,503. Lease payment 1 lakh. And liability at the end 4,21,225. 4,91,722 plus 29,503 minus 1 lakh. Then liability at the beginning of sixth year 4,21,225. Interest at 6%, 25,274. Lease payment 1 lakh. Liability at the end 3,46,499. 4,21,225 plus 25,274 minus 1 lakh. 3,46,499. This lease liability balance at the end of sixth year. That is beginning of seventh year. Balance of lease liability. Now the modification has arisen. Now, ROE of asset. Initial liability is 7,36,000. There are no other costs, initial direct costs or any payments before lease commencement. And restoration or dismantling costs, nothing are there. Thereby, initial value of ROE asset 7,36,000. Lease term is for 10 years. Lease term is for 10 years. Out of that 6 years completed. We have to depreciate for 6 years. 7,36,000 divided by 10 into 6. 4,41,600. Remaining balance 2,94,400. 2,94,400. So, lease liability, balance lease liability 3,46,499 and a balance ROE of asset 2,94,400. That is at the end of sixth year, beginning of seventh year. Now, at the beginning of year 7, lessee and lessor agree to amend the original lease by extending the contractual lease term by 4 years. So, they are extending the contractual lease term by 4 years. This is a modification. This is a modification. The annual lease payments are unchanged, 1 lakh payable at the end of each year from year 7 to year 14. 7 to 14 years, every year 1 lakh. Less is incremental borrowing rate. At the beginning of year 7 is 7%. How the modification should be accounted for. So, lease modifications means change in the scope of the lease, increase or decrease in the space, increasing or decreasing the space. Scope means extending the lease term or decreasing the lease term. And change in timing of lease payment. All these are part of modifications only. So we have to analyze it in 3 parts, 3 steps. Increase in scope, one way we have to deal. Decrease in scope, we have to deal another way. Other modifications. If increase in scope is there and a commensurate increase in consideration is there, we have to treat it as separate lease payment. So it is not falling in that category. Decrease in scope is there means we have to decrease proportionately the liability and ROI of asset. It is not falling in this category also. So it is falling under the category other modifications. Other modifications. In case of other modifications, we have to calculate, remeasure the liability. We have to remeasure the liability at revised discounting rate. At revised discounting rate. And remeasure the ROI to the extent of increase in liability. Increase in liability. So we have to remeasure the liability. So from 7th year onwards, 7 more years are involved. 1 lakh is the lease rent. And revised discounting rate is 7%. Revised discounting rate is 7%. By considering these factors, we have to measure the lease liability. So there is a modification in the lease term at the beginning of 6th year, at the beginning of 7th year, at the beginning of 7th year. So lease liability has to be remeasured. Original term remaining 4 years is there and it is extended by 4 more years. So remaining lease term is 4 plus 4, 8 years. Lease payment 1 lakh per annum, same thing. And revised discounting rate is saying about 7%. So modified lease liability 1 to 8 years from this point, from the beginning of 7th year, 8 more years are there. Original term 4 years, revised term plus 4, 1 to 8 years. Lease rent 1 lakh. Revised discounting rate 7%. So these are repetitive cash flows. We can go for annuity factor. Annuity factor for 8 years at 7%, 5.971. Present value of lease rent 5,97,100. 5,97,100. This is the modified lease liability. So balance of lease liability at this point of time is 3,46,499. Thereby increasing lease liability. So modified lease liability 5,97,100. Balance of existing lease liability 3,46,499. Increase in lease liability 2,50,601. So we have to increase ROI of asset by the same amount, right of use of asset by same amount. The journal entry being right of use of asset account data to lease liability account, right of use of asset account data to lease liability account, 2,50,601. So the speciality of the problem lies with increasing the lease term. This is a modification. Whenever such modification is there, you have to check whether it is increase in scope, further different treatment will be there. Decrease in scope, different treatment will be there. Other modifications, just go for remeasurement of lease liability. Remeasurement of lease liability. So the remaining term is 4 plus 4, 8 years. Lease payment same 1 lakh per annum. Revised discounting rate 7%. There we analyze the revised lease liability, modified lease liability, 5 lakh 97 100. So balance of existing lease liability 3 lakh 46 499. Difference 2 lakh 50,601. Increase in liability. To that extent, we have to increase the right of use of asset also.